Hello, ladies. Today we're going to be learning about a very vital subject in childcare field called interaction. Now, interaction can be any kind. We're going to learn about how it is important and why it is important in childcare and how we as a teacher can implement that on our day-to-day basis in our curriculum, in our structure, in our classrooms. It is very easy to forget, even for a teacher that has been working in childcare field for years and years and is a great and wonderful teacher, but from time to time, even a good, great teacher also tend to slip something that important out of her curriculum interaction. So we're going to go ahead and learn more in depth about it.
To be able to have interaction in a classroom, one should understand the meaning behind the interaction and why it is important. Therefore, we are doing today's training, so therefore you understand it at the end of the training and apply it in your classroom for better results. What is interaction? An interaction is communication or direct involvement with someone or something, the act of talking or doing things with other people, the action or influence of things on one another. Now, just because it's interaction, can we apply that into the classroom? Probably not. For interaction in childcare, especially with the children, especially, it has to be a quality interaction. You can help children construct knowledge through only a quality interaction, which entails giving children sufficient time to express their thoughts and feelings and engaging in shared and sustained conversation with them. We tend to forget to give them the room to express their thoughts. We always just give them the direction and tend to forget about actually hearing back from them. So make sure that we are applying these tools and knowledge into your interaction in your classroom so that way it is actually turning into a quality interaction rather than just an interaction. I'm going to go ahead and go in depth of interaction with children. So when you are interacting and playing with the children, that allows the children to see the work from other person's perspective. If they themselves are playing alone with a set of blocks, they may just toss it around and that be the end of it. But when a grown-up actually sits down with them to work with the same set of blocks, which turn into a whole nother level of game, and they can create millions and thousands of things with just that same set of blocks that they were just tossing and throwing around. And that is the result of interaction. While many adults still struggle with this, your children in your classroom will learn the basics as they listen to other kids' ideas at the same time and what their imagination can come up with. So basically, not just the teacher child interaction, the interaction between the children is also very important. So make sure that the teacher is doing the job to actually give them choices and voices to speak their thoughts and imagination into a group setting or depending on the activity that you're working on. I'm not sure about you, but anytime something is being said that is required or is important, I always like to know why it is important, just so I can understand the depth of the same topic, the knowledge that we're discussing. So, why is interaction important in early childhood? Even toddlers and infants reap the cognitive and emotional benefits of interacting with others. The right socially interactive environment will only help children develop stronger language skills, creativity, social intelligence, and confidence. Social interaction from an early age is a key factor in learning to speak effectively for clear communication. Through communication with others at places like childcare, kids also gain a sense of self and learn to identify as individuals, which is a normal part of the developmental process for toddlers. Interaction is very important to learning. In our childcare, we're not just supervising the children, we're actually our teachers. We're teaching them on daily basis. Social interaction plays an important role in learning. Interacting with other people has proven to be quite effective in assisting the learner to organize their thoughts, reflect on their understanding, and then find gaps in their reasoning. Positive interaction also helps increase their good feelings, increase morale, and improve work satisfaction. Negative interactions, however, will create confusion, give a child anxiety, tension, and uncertainty, which adversely affect work efficiency and the child's work productivity. How should we interact with children? A teacher who actually plans, does her homework prior to coming to her school, coming to her classroom, will reflect on the quality and time that is available for conversation with children, which will increase the opportunity for learning, language and communication skills, as well as listening, asking open questions, commenting, repeating, extending, adapting, and valuing nonverbal communication skills of children that will support their communication skills. How do educators interact with children? Well, educators will role model positive interactions, therefore, children can follow it, such as empathy and respect for children, co educators, staff, and families. Acknowledge each child's uniqueness in positive ways is the most important thing for an educator. Respect cultural differences in communication and consider an alternative approaches to their own would also be a better way to set examples from an educator. So now that we are done watching that wonderful clip, I would like to go in depth of what is the effective child interaction is. The positive communication, when you're talking very positively with the children, with love and affection and respect, means paying attention to them, respecting the child's feelings, and watching your tone of voice. If you have a busy schedule in your classroom or there's a lot going on, please make sure to allocate some time every day to simply sit and listen to the child individually. Children thrive with words of encouragement and praises, and we teachers really do tend to sometimes leave out the praises because we have been so busy telling them, have listening ears on and no thank yous. Always try and find at least one thing to praise each and every child on daily basis. As a teacher, how do you think you can promote the interaction with children? Try and follow their interest. Ask for their opinion. Enjoying others will come more naturally when a child is doing something they're genuinely interested in. Learn to ask questions. Depending on the age group of the class you're in, try and ask questions. Practice a role playing with them. Teach with empathy. Know your child's in your classroom limits. Every child is unique, so not what fits one child, the other one would be like. Be a good role model. I really hope that you guys learned a lot from today's video, our training session. I really would love to see some action and interaction in the classrooms rather than a teacher sitting down on the floor and kids just running around. Do your homework before coming to work, because not only that children will have fun when you have done your homework on time and prior to entering your classroom, they will learn. But I think as a teacher, you would personally also are going to shine in your classroom. You're going to thrive in their classroom. You're going to be less frustrated because you've already done your part. You'll know that what comes next after this certain activity. You don't have to stop and think, wait a minute, what am I going to do next? Because they're all running around now. They don't like this certain activity, or they're not going to sit still for throughout the activity. Your homework's already done. Because your classroom is now on a structure, because you are going to be in control of your classroom because you've done your homework. You don't know how to keep it under control. The interaction will calm your classroom on its own. You don't have to worry about the rest. It will bring the structure in your classroom. You would love your job. You would want to come and be more prepared for the next day. Also, remember that the way you interact with children is how you will also be replied back from the children. The children will have a positive interaction with you and other people around them. Often teachers are seen rather sitting looking bored in the classroom because they're not interacting, they're not putting even 50% of their energy into the classroom. If you are willing to put 50% of your energy, I can assure you the children in your classroom will put the rest of the 50% of energy in the classroom, which will then total up to 100% of the energy in the classroom. You will not fall asleep, you will not look bored, and you will definitely will not look lost. By the way, falling asleep in the classroom is definitely against state of Texas minimum standards and your center policy. And if you are praying, please make sure your eyes are open. When you go to an event, for example, if there's a whole lot of people or just even a handful of number of people and no one is interacting or chatting with you, how would you feel? Don't you feel left out and bored and less energetic? And you probably feel like isolated and in a very negative way, which will leave a very negative impact on your personal vibes. And then you would want to leave the place. Now, picture the child or the children in your classroom in the same scenario. As a teacher, you're not interacting in your classroom, or you're very limited to the interactions. You're having that child go through the same experience that we just gave you an example of. If you are in your management, your coworker, they're not chatting with you, they're not communicating with you, they're leaving you out, that also makes you unlike your job. That also makes you feel left out, isolated. So what I'm trying to say with these examples is that interaction is very, very important part of our humanity, and especially in our childcare. We all really need to come together to work on our skills and implement the interaction, equality, positive interaction on our daily basis into our classrooms, into our center for a better childhood and better future.